How's it going? My name's David Lambright, and I'm just going to try to show through these sketches what I'm seeing with my devices and the way that they operate. So if this were a model of Earth, you have your poles, north and south, and you have your equatorial plane. Now, no matter which way you turn an object in Earth's natural gravity field, this plane always stays perpendicular with the gravitational forces pulling down on it this way. Now, with the centrifuge, let me zoom in on this just a little bit. Now, if this toroid was a PMH, and it's been energized, there's an energy inside the metal of the PMH ring. We know this. And we also know that this energy is magnetic in nature because it will light a light bulb when the PMH is when the keeper's pulled off. But when a toy gyroscope is spun and spinning at the poles seem to be the same polarity, so they want to oppose each other and stretch out this way and this way. And the equator acts as the complete separate pole. But these two poles, these two norths, are also separated by the way they spin. So they actually oppose each other. But this is what we're going to concentrate on, is this equatorial to polar field that is gravity. And you can see this little diagram right here. In a bar magnet, you have your north and south poles separated by a block wall or a point where there's not much magnetic activity happening. Now when a gyroscope is spun, the poles that used to be 180 degrees in opposition are now in only 90 degrees of opposition. The gravity, as you can see right here, has been shifted to where the force of gravity is being pulled down this way. I hope this makes a little bit of sense. I'm going to go back to this other diagram here. I'm going to zoom in just a little more. Okay, now imagine if this is either Ed's generator or the device that I made, and it's spinning. What I see is a vortex, like an upside down whirlpool, coming up this way and also going down this way. And at the equator, at that plane, and only at that plane, is a visual energy being thrown off. This energy that's being thrown off at the equator is in direct opposition to either one of the poles. in this model, if Earth's gravity is pulling straight down and you have a spherical object, you have two different forces contained inside that sphere. You have a downward force and an upward force, and they are in exact opposition, so they cancel each other out. As far as being completely like repulsive of each other or attractive to each other, they're in like ambient temperature. Now, when the centrifuge spins, that same energy that used to be up and down like this is now switched like this, 90 degrees from what it was. Now, if it spins faster than 1g, the energy, and this is going to be the cold side, is going to want to be stretched out more. The energy on this inside is the hot, is going to want to stretch out more towards the middle. Now, this has been proven. If you take two candles and place them on a centrifuge like this and spin it, the flames are going to immediately go in towards each other, towards the center of gravity. Or, away from gravity towards the center of the device. But heat always moves away from a gravitational source. And I believe that this is what Ed was capturing and using to do the things that he did. Now, this gyroscope, being a PMH, if it's spinning, the equator and this pole are completely polar separated. Just the same as a magnet having a north pole and a south pole, except instead of being 180 degrees, it's 90 degrees off. Now, if you look at a pseudosphere or a tractrocoid shape and look at the math associated with it, it will show that both poles go to infinity or to a singularity. And the equator also is a singularity, because they are all in part of the same thing. The North Pole and the South Pole are all part of the same energy. Now, in this diagram, Edward Leedskalnin with his device that he made, I'm going to draw a quick sketch of the device, a side view of it. Now, if this is spinning, now above his device, he had a wire hook going to a chain, or some chain, to a mass of metal above his device, similar to this. What I'm seeing with my device when it's spinning is a visible field that is an inverted whirlpool that comes up off the top of the device kind of like this. But now you got to remember it's like a whirlpool, so it's in a screw-like fashion. But there seems to be two different forces, one spiraling up and one spiraling down. But that's what I see with my own eyes when I'm looking at this, and this is what other people have described to me seeing it. At the equator, I'm going to draw this arrow going upward. Now, at the equator, there's an energy being thrown off. And if you look at Ed's device, in the picture where he's standing there and he's got his hand on his generator, you'll notice there's a mass of metal above here. There's some chains and stuff, and they come down. And there's a pole right about here, a metal pole, and a bicycle over here, like this. But now this energy that's being created has a place to go to here and flow up into this as it's being thrown off the side. And if you notice in that picture also, there's a box, something square, right in front, and it has a chain wrapped around it. And I believe that this is the place that Ed was trying to collect this energy that's being thrown off. The reason I say that is because this energy coming up off of here is the same energy that we associate with rising heat convection. In other experiments that I've done, in fact, I did a video and showed the shadow. The sun was shining on the top of the metal mass up here onto a piece of paper, and you could see like smoke looking plumes coming up off of the metal. And there's no smoke or heat, but still you have this plume energy coming off of here. And that plume energy is coming from this place right here and flowing up into this metal mass. The only way that this can flow up into this metal mass is if energy is being taken off here too, because you have to have an equal reaction. In order for this to come off here, it's got to come off here too, because this is now the pole. Now, in normal gravity, you have an equal and opposite complete reaction. So if you have any upward flow, you're going to have downward push too. There's an equal opposition to all things. But with a centrifuge or a gyroscope, the act of it spinning changes the polar separation to just 90 degrees. To where it can be utilized. This upward flow, we'll call that south, and we'll call this north. Now this south wants to attract north energy. Now this north energy, we'll call this cold, we'll call this hot. This south energy, this rising heat, wants to attract this north and cold so it'll even out and become ambient again. Now the same thing is true with the equatorial energy that's coming off here. We'll call that north and cold. Now this north energy, which is cold, seeks this hot and south energy so it can also reach an equilibrium, an ambient state. So it is attracting this south energy. Now if you were to take this energy and run it through a chain or a wire to, say, a stone, this cold energy will want to draw this rising heat convection energy because of its magnetic nature. It wants to draw to an unlike pole. And when it's doing that, it's also drawing in this rising heat convection energy, therefore making the stones lighter. Anyway, that's what I see with my device. I'm seeing this flow here. I'm seeing a flow of energy on the top up here. I'm seeing energy being thrown off at the equator. And this is something that's visible, although it is very subtle. It is absolutely visible, and it is absolutely real. And I really believe that this is the only way that Edward Lee Scanlon could have harnessed any energy, because his generator there at Coral Castles is not an electric generator. It generates magnetic current, magnetic flow. So many people have said that magnetism is like a river, and they are absolutely correct in that assumption. Absolutely correct. But I hope this explains a little bit and helps. All right, thanks.